Good morning. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners for Monday, July the 15th, 2019. All three commissioners are present, and we do have a quorum. Peter Lamont, would you lead us in our flag salute, please? I'd like to welcome everyone with us this morning, and we have a number of people that would like to make public comment, and we're going to allow a little bit of additional time this morning for some of that comment to be made. In order to get to that, I'm going to make a little change in the agenda here. We're going to move our employee recognition up one slot because we have employees here that we'd like to recognize, and of course they need to get back to work. And so we're going to give them an opportunity to be recognized, and then we'll move into our public comment, okay? So at this time, we will do employee recognitions. We have quite a few milestones here to recognize this morning. We'll start with folks that have been with us for 5 years here at Lewis County, beginning with Justin DeWitt from Public Works. Is Justin here? He must be working. Michael Thomas, Public Works. Oh, you got to love these guys out there that are working. We'll get these things to them. Let's see. Shannon Foister with Public Works. Must be busy today. And I hope I get this right. Kelly Palacios, is that correct? Not here either? Okay, these folks have been with us 5 years. Would you give them a hand even though they're not here? All right, 15 years now. Kurt Atkinson, Public Works. Wow. Adam Cooper, Public Works. Arlie Champ, Public Works. All these 15 years. Amber Wilson, Sheriff's Office. There we go. Thank you for service. Stand over here, I think. Chief Sweet wants to get a photo after this. Speech. Next, we have Julia Frank from the Sheriff's Office. Not here. Ona Felker. Okay. Scott Mattoon. Not here. Everybody working. Next up, we have 20 years with the county. Michelle Schlecht. Did I get that right? 911. Kevin Dickey, Sheriff's Office. Jason Mowerman. I know Jason's here. There he is.
All right. That's a good.
That way they look the same direction.
Yes. One more. Very good.
Thank you, Jason. Okay. This next group is for 25 years with the county. 25 years. Melanie Case.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go ahead and have this guy come up too, Steve Skinner with Solid Waste. Come on up, Steve. We'll get both of them at the same time. We have Ken Lind from Public Works. He's not here. Matt Money. I know he's not here. I'd know that smile anywhere in the building if he was here. Sue Kennedy. Sue's here. Also. And finally, we have Kim Alexander from the clerk's office. Thank you.
One more. Okay.
It's always a special thing for us to be able to recognize folks that have been with the county and given their time and efforts and their commitment to us for all the years that these folks have. And we're very grateful for all of that institutional knowledge, and we just want to continue to say thank you for all of their hard work. All right, public comment. And again, most everyone here is from Randall. And so, as I said, we will be giving a little bit of leeway here. I would just ask you to, since we have 8 people to speak, that everyone be mindful of the person coming behind them so that we can get everybody in. And like I said, we will give a little bit of leeway and just ask you to be able to do that if you would. So we'll start out with Linda Wood.
Thank you. At a previous meeting between the commissioners and the prosecuting attorney's office, you asked the PA to get a better understanding of the steps involved for Crystal Geyser to obtain a water right permit and for information for you to further understand at what point the county would become involved in approval of a business on this site. Please do not let this seemingly inadvertent email sent to the Chronicle last week cause you or any of us to become complacent about what is happening. I wish to urge you to continue this endeavor because I too want to know the process that the Department of Ecology follows in order to approve the water right permit and to understand whether or not Crystal Geyser, with a simple water permit, can pump the water directly into tanker trucks and haul it off the property without any input from the county or a SEPA process. It isn't over and done until it's over and done. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank Wood.
Tough act to follow. My name is Frank Wood, a retired resident of Randall, Washington. After seeing last week's correspondence between Crystal Geysers management posted in the Chronicle newspaper, I'm not here today to address the board members of the Lewis County Commissioners, but rather the board members of the Otsuka Pharmaceutical Corporation based in Japan that owns Crystal Geyser. And I am sure they are listening. What Crystal Geyser has done in their plans to build a water bottling plant and their underhanded schemes to achieve that goal in Randall is to have awakened the American people and created the groundswelling of concern of millions of people nationwide. We are tired of seeing the trash of plastic bottles cast upon the sides of our scenic roads and shorelines and within our oceans. We have awakened to the fact that only 30% of plastic bottles make it to the recycling center, while the other 70% are destined to our landfills. Many people have awakened to the threat of plastics in our daily use, and they have taken a new course in storing water at their homes for emergency purposes and are seeking reusable containers. They are seeking, and their numbers are growing. Let me remind the board members of Otsuka of what the famous battle tactician Admiral Yamamoto said in his diary about his attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. He wrote, and I quote, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve," end quote. I can assure you that shortly those same words will be echoed in the boardrooms of Crystal Geyser, and they will see the awakening of the American people once more. And we will join together to put an end to the dishonorable plans for Randall, Washington. We, the American people, are giving them fair warning. Our approach will be continual protests, organized picket lines, and specific media coverage, and the worst case of PR they will have ever seen. And they will cower at the might of an unwavering America who is once again filled with a terrible resolve. Crystal Geyser, owned by Otsuka, is a guest here in America. They need to start acting like a guest and not as an invading pillager and plunderer. Please, now I ask the board members of Otsuka to go do the honorable thing and put a stop to Crystal Geyser's efforts to forcibly take our waters from their bottling greed. Stop their veiled threats of lawsuits against honest, hardworking, or retired American homeowners, and the taking of our waters from our wells, our communities, our farmlands, our wetlands and rivers, our Native Americans, and from our great and powerful country, the United States of America, who at this time are your hosts. The American people and our undying spirit is used to bullies such as Crystal Geyser. We dealt with bullies in 1776. We dealt with the evils of our Civil War and of World War I, and we dealt especially with the invading bullies of World War II. And our history will soon show that we're also successful in dealing with the bullies of Crystal Geyser. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Frank.
Steve Jasmer.
Steve Jasmer, Randall. Today I'm here to speak about courage. The courage of a community in East Lewis County, your constituents, to stand up and fight for what is right, to take on a multi-billion-dollar corporation whose history of business dealings is well documented, as underhanded and self-serving. The courage of individuals to stand and speak at meetings such as these, something out of their comfort zone and something they just as soon not be forced to do. The courage of the Cowlitz Indian tribe leadership to vote unanimously to oppose another wrong being bestowed upon them. The courage of the Friends of the Cowlitz group, the Columbia River Keepers, the Sierra Club, and all stepping up to support what is right. The courage of a young reporter and his newspaper to print articles of the truth, despite being threatened to be sued by a powerful law firm. Your turn. Show us your courage. You have the power and the influence to stop this. Stop it now. How? Oppose the water rights permit application. The whole thing is about a multinational corporation controlling our county's water forever. Stop it now. Don't let it happen. Do not let boardroom corporate leadership snicker at what they pulled off in Lewis County in finding their unicorn site. Demand the Lewis County Economic Development Council stand down. Advise them this is not a company or a type of company with which this county wishes to do business. Replace the EDC leadership. They have shown poor judgment throughout this process. If they had vetted this company properly, they would have known it has unsavory character. They have disregarded the people's input, putting themselves, their goals to facilitate this company as paramount. They disregarded the county's planning policies only to find cracks in it to facilitate their desires to have this company on their success resume. This is not acceptable, and they need to be held accountable. Expedite a company code amendment by means of funding and support to fix those cracks in the code to eliminate this type of business existing within the current zoning, and that stick with the countywide planning policy. Show us your courage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Is Craig Jasmer here?
He's not here. I'm Bob Summers, and so I'm going to read this.
Okay.
The Washington State Growth Management Act was adopted because Washington State found that uncoordinated and unplanned growth posed a threat to the environment, a threat to sustainable economic development, and a threat to our quality of life. Essentially, the Growth Management Act was put in place to protect Washington from companies trying to do exactly what Crystal Geyser is scheming to do in Randall. Lewis County adopted a comprehensive plan in accordance with the Growth Management Act. However, the Lewis County EDC has successfully marketed to their client. The Lewis County Code does not put any specific limits on size or water resource consumption of a business in a rural zone. The code fails to adequately represent policies within the land use element of the comprehensive plan. And since a hearing examiner makes the final decision, the code needs to be more specific as to what exactly is prohibited. As citizens of Lewis County, we ask you provide resources needed so that your community development department and the planning commission may take the quick action and amend the code to be in line with the comprehensive plan, to protect our rural environment and to protect our water resources. We've already initiated phase 1 of the public participation program, 17.12.050, with community development director Lee Napier. We ask that you ensure this process is given high priority so that the amendment may be completed as quickly as possible. We will be at the next Planning Commission meeting on July 23rd. Please ensure that our request is on the agenda. While Crystal Geyser was the reason this weakness in the code was brought to light, let us be very clear. Our request is not targeted at Crystal Geyser. Excuse me. Our request is to protect the rural zones from any non-agricultural, non-forestry, big business that might threaten our environment, threaten our water resources, and threaten our way of life in Lewis County. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, could you give us what was your name once again?
Bob Summers.
Bob Summers, okay. Okay, Sally Clark.
Sally Clark from Randall. Thank you, commissioners, for letting us address you with our concerns. I've been involved in this Crystal Geyser folly from the day we found out that they had purchased property in an RDD 20 zone for an industrial operation directly across the road from our home. In the beginning, it was not in my backyard, but very shortly, and shortly was within a couple of days, it was not in my state. After last Friday's Chronicle issue, it's not in my country. They're threatening a lawsuit just to bring us to the table. We've asked this company to come to the table through letters, town hall meetings, comments and questions, and they haven't addressed any of those. But they have the audacity to threaten us with lawsuits. Who has been at the table? I ask. We have, not them. They have made statements, quote, off the record in order to coerce us into coming to the table. Well, we have been at the table, and where are they? We all know where they are. They're out there planning to hire a PR firm. They're planning to plant supporters. They're threatening to sue the local newspaper for simply exposing the truth. And they're planning to sue our group for doing the very thing they want free rein to do, and that's to damage our aquifer. And this is what we know. What might they still be hiding from us? We have yet to hear anything other than one secondhand email filled with vague innuendos addressed to the county manager in order to use him and your board as emissaries for this company. Emissaries for a corrupt, lying, environmental destroying nightmare of a foreign multi-billion-dollar underhanded organization, one that is poised to steal the natural resources that have been revered, protected, and utilized in the way we want it to continue. Lewis County is a beautiful area. We all know that. Companies should be begging to be part of our area. Companies that, when vetted, prove to be the type of companies that we want to have, not to be ones that are lacking in honesty, trustworthiness, and even the littlest bit of ethics. This company has none of these qualities. So in closing, I suggest, number one, you stop this with a temporary injunction today. Number two, hire a water rights attorney to garner advice today. Number three, tell Crystal Geyser Roxanne to leave and not look back, only and unless it would be to save a bit of face for them and gift this property to the Callus tribe today. Number four, for the future, vet companies that wish to set up operations in this county before the EDC encourages and aids them in setting up a business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Ray Monica.
Before we move on with Ray, Sally, is there any way that we could get your information that you just read and all the rest of the people that have submitted?
She gave this to
Do we get it? Okay.
She gave
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Monica.
My name's Ray Matitchka. I live at 512 Peters Road, Randall, Washington. I've got a little letter here from an individual by the name of Joshua Hale. I'd like to read a little something about what this individual is, who he is. Have to get my glasses here. Joshua Hale is the youngest licensed well driller in the state of Washington at the age of 22. He attended University of Idaho, where he received both an A bachelor's and a master's of landscape architecture with emphasis on hydrology, geology, and water. While there, he published a thesis on designing bio-infiltration swale models for shallow aquifer recharge for the soils in Moscow, Idaho. Since then, he has worked extensively on creating bioswales and proper drainage to mitigate stormwater events. The title of this letter is Corporate Water Mining and Effects on Local Environment and Aquifer. It's quite extensive. I'd like to submit it to the committee so that they can review it. They can look at it, they can read it. There's a copy for each one of you to take it, have a cup of coffee, sit down in a quiet room and ponder it. You've got the power to put a stake in this Crystal Geyser thing and do the courage thing that Mr. Jasper had talked about. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Don Welliver. Hi.
So I shouldn't tap this, I think. Okay, got it. My name's Don Welliver. I live on Kiona Road, which it's a couple miles from where this geyser site is going to be, but it's also going to be right through the trucking area, and we share the same aquifer. The big thing I wanted to talk about today, and maybe just a little bit from my perspective, I think most people are good. And I don't care what your beliefs are or what your heritage is. Most people have a good sense of what's right and wrong. And when I look at what the company was saying they might do, that's not right. It's wrong. It's pretty simple. It's wrong. And it's time to ask our neighbors all across Lewis County, do we really want somebody that would do this kind of stuff to a community? And this is just for the foothold. Okay, keep in mind, 400 gallons a minute is the start. Okay, that's where they start. Then they start buying extra water rights. And it's not just the airport community. If they want to expand, how long is it going to be before they attack up by Huff and Puff, where we have multiple housing sites close together and they were grandfathered in? I would say their lawsuits could be bad up there. Same with Silverbrook. You look at the Silverbrook neighborhood, which also feeds off of our aquifer. It's stuff that was grandfathered in. It's small lots. We all know that the septics and the wells are too close together. But they could file suit and lock it up until they get what they want. It's the wrong tactics. It's not right. And I think anybody that wants to help should send their comments to the Department of Ecology explaining that this company has the wrong moral compass for our county, for our neighborhood, for our state, and it needs to go away. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Teresa Brooks.
Hello, Commissioners.
Teresa.
Good morning.
For allowing me to speak. My name is Teresa Brooks, and I recently purchased property in the Randall area. We used to live in the Packwood area, but we wanted a little more of the country feel. And so we began scouting around and found a love of piece of property in Randall. We currently have property also in Yakima County on 10 acres there. So we wanted to have another country feel, and it's a home that we want to retire in. When we were driving around looking for property, which took us from 2007 until 2018 when we purchased this property, it took us quite many years to find that perfect property. And I can guarantee you, if there had been a bottling plant, we would have never even traveled down Peters Road or Kiona's Estates and found the property that we fell in love with. We're currently building a brand new home, and it's very disheartening to know that we are trying to build a foundation for our generation of grandchildren, our children and grandchildren to come to and have enjoyment. And one of the things that we really loved about the Kiona State Park there is that you could walk down the roads and you could see children riding bikes. You could see elderly people walking. The wildlife there was able to cross over. There isn't main traffic there. So it was just the type of life that a person wants to retire to. If we wanted to be in an industrial site, we would have moved somewhere where there would have been an industrial, but that's where we not choose to live. We want to live where it's peaceful and it's quiet, and we want to continue to live there. And I can guarantee you, if there would have been a plant there, we wouldn't even turned into Kiona Estates. We would have just drove right on past. And so will future people. Some of the things that I was going to read out of the article, but it's already been talked about, so I don't want to waste the commissioners' times on that, is that it says in the article by Joshua, the fear of residential wells running dry in the summer months could be as much as 1/10 of an inch. So if they take water out, 1/10 of an inch could cause people, their wells. And I know that I've talked to other residents around there because I'm fairly new to the area, but their wells are 25 feet deep. 1/10 of an inch could cause them to go dry, and they've been there long before Crystal Geyser ever thought about coming there. We saw the benefits of Randall. And I want the commissioners to not only just think about Randall, but the research that I have been doing shows that this will not only affect Randall, but it's going to affect Glenoma, it's going to affect Mossy Rock, it's going to affect all the other counties or all the other cities and towns that are further down the aquifer. So I want you to take in consideration, this is not just a Randall issue. This is a Lewis County issue. This is a Washington State issue. We don't want them in Randall. We don't want them in Packwood. We don't want them anywhere in Lewis County, and we sure in the heck don't want them in Washington State. They're here just to take something for free and prophesize from it, or profit from it, and we don't want that. And thank you, and I hope that you take that in consideration.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Yeah, before we move on, first I'd like to thank everyone for being here and showing your resilience, and it's a very, very important matter. So I can tell you that there's been lots of conversations about this through the EDC board, and I think there's some information that's accurate and there's some information that's not accurate, but we will get all that out as quick as possible and get that out to the public. So anyway, I do appreciate it, and I think that I've let you know how I feel about this. And community development and also our county manager is well aware of this, and we've had some conversations, but we will have more information as we progress along. So thank you guys very much so for being here. Very much appreciated.
Okay.
No, is that the end of public
It's
comment?
the end of public comment, yes.
Okay. I move that we approve the notice items, Resolution 19-196 through 197.
Second.
Martin?
Morning, Commissioners. Eric Martin, County Manager. I'm going to be speaking to Resolution 19-196 on the notice agenda. That's the notice of hearing regarding the second budget amendment for 2019. Notice of the public hearing will be published in the Chronicle on July 16th and the 23rd, and the hearing will be held on July 29th. This notice pertains to all funds, including the general fund, and reflects a revenue increase of $3,656,313, an expenditure increase of $5,423,474, which constitutes a change in fund balance of $1,767,161. The current expense general fund portion of that is a revenue increase of $56,495, an expenditure increase of $431,083, which constitutes a change in fund balance of $374,588. Any changes to these dollar amounts in this notice will be highlighted during the hearing, which again takes place on July 29th at 10 a.m. right here in this room. Any questions about that? We'll go over all the details of what these numbers mean at that hearing on the 29th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Who is going to speak to this piece? The vendor publication?
Smith.
Would that be you, Suzette?
Sorry, I was thinking this is on next week's event agenda. This is Suzette Smith, Chief Accountant, in reference to resolution number 19-197. This is the vendor publication. Twice each year, we publish in the Chronicle or the County Record, the newspaper of record, a call for any business that would like to be a part of our vendor list. And it also allows our departments to access products through telephonic bids or by getting quotes from 3 vendors who are on our vendor list. And as I said, we do this twice annually, so this is the one for the mid-year. Any questions?
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette. It's been moved and seconded to approve 2 notice items, beginning with Resolution 19-196 and 19-197. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed.
I make a motion to approve 2 consent items. That's the approval of the July 8, 2019 business meeting, as well as 19-198, the approval of warrants.
Need a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Suzette Smith, Chief Accountant, once again for resolution number 19-198. This one I'm just a little bit more prepared for. This is the weekly approval of the payments against the various county departments. So last week we issued 413 warrants and direct disbursements, large number due to the prior week being a holiday week. Warrants were numbered 816325 through 816716. The direct disbursements were numbered 1004 through 1017. Number 131, 131, 1034, 1036, 1039, 1040, 1042, and 1049. You will notice a skip in sequence in the direct disbursements numbers. That is because some of those disbursements get through the audit process later than this agenda and will probably be on a subsequent agenda or may have been on a prior agenda. Total dollar amount, $1,026,776.37. In addition, we had payroll last week on July 5th. We issued 673 automatic deposits and warrants to our payroll vendors, number 795584 through 795651. Automatic deposits were 1 through 605. And hopefully that will be our last payroll run in the legacy system. As of July 1st, we converted to the Munis system. Today ends our first pay cycle, and we'll have hopefully a very successful payroll on the 25th. But on July 5th, the payroll was $3,829,723.94. The following series is read as a skip in sequence. These warrants were issued on behalf of our special purpose districts, 816288 through 816324. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette.
Thank you, Suzette.
It's been moved and seconded to approve 2 consent items, the approval of minutes from the July 8, 2019 business meeting, and also Resolution 19-198, the approval of warrants. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed.
I move that we approve deliberation items, Resolution 19-199 through 204.
Second.
Mr. Fife.
Tim Fife, I'm the county engineer. Here to speak to Resolution 19-199 in regards to a contract with Cowlitz-Wycombe Council of Governments for transportation planning in the Lewis County area that feeds into their our RTPO, which is the Road Transportation Organization. This is an annual agreement. It runs from July 1st to June 30th of 2020. Actually, it's replacing the one that just finished. So we get $25,000 to do that work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Mr. Anderson.
Good morning, Commissioners. JP Anderson, Interim Director for Lewis County Public Health and Social Services, here to speak on resolution number 19-200. This contract is with Department of Social and Health Services through the Developmental Disabilities Administration. Grant number 1963-57625. This awards us $914,000, which we will subcontract out to local agencies to provide employment, child development, and family support services for persons with developmental disabilities who reside here in Lewis County. This contract also provides funding for administration, training, and community education services. Its duration is from July 1, 2019 to July 30th, 2020. Also here to, if there are any questions on that. Also here to speak on resolution 19-201. This is our consolidated homeless grant agreement that's between us and the Washington State Department of Commerce. These funds are for homeless housing services. Public Health and Social Services will subcontract these funds to local service agencies to provide case management, shelter, permanent supportive housing, prevention, rapid rehousing, and housing and essential needs to those who are literally or at imminent risk of homelessness here in Lewis County. Contract total is for $1,737,278 and is effective from July 1 of this year through June 30th of 2021. So it's a 2-year contract.
So JP, this is normal. I mean, it starts July 1, but we get it later because of working with
Yeah.
DSHS. And these monies, folks can apply for these, and then there, you have a group that looks at the application, and then you decide who receives those monies. Is that correct?
Yeah, so CHG is similar to our local document recording fees in that there is some competitive granting to that. We can review that. We review those depending on what our needs are. Our local document recording fees happen every year because these are around shelter services and things that are required. We work closely with Commerce to make sure we're meeting their requirements and what these dollars are. So there's a little less flexibility than there are with our local document recording fees, which are collected by the auditor's office at the time of filing for a lot of real estate transactions in our community.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, JP. So the next two, I think, Commissioner Stamper.
Yes,
these are-
this is to reappoint Cindy Munn, Lynn Ford, and Elizabeth Hecker to the Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging. We call it the AAA for short. And they do a phenomenal job representing Lewis County, and we're very fortunate to have them, and we're very fortunate for them to be interested in serving on this board. So yes.
And I think one of them is in
Is
our
she here?
meeting today. Elizabeth Hicker, want to stand up and say, you're one of the people
There
that
she
we're
is.
appointing. There she
What are you
is.
doing?
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Mr. Martin.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Martin, County Manager. Speaking to Resolution 19-203, designate and appoint individuals to the Washington County's risk pool. So this is some change in some appointments to some risk pool relationships that they have with Lewis County based on the fact that Wayne Whiten has tendered his resignation effective Friday. So put myself and Tawny Shepard into some roles there. We'll probably be asking you as we move to replace Wayne and figure out what we're going to do with risk in the county here at some point in time, probably put some new people in place there once we have them. So any questions? Thanks.
Thank you. This next resolution is to reappoint Steve Ward to the Boundary Review Board. Does anyone want to speak to that?
I know Steve's been on the Boundary Review Board for a number of years. He does a really good job, and I'm glad he wants to continue.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve 6 deliberation items, beginning with Resolution 19-199 through 19-204. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed. Announcements, Commissioners.
Well, I have to say on Saturday was certainly Toledo Days, Cheese Days. And as always, a great breakfast, standing room only, people coming in to go to the senior center for breakfast. How many people did you serve? Anybody know?
Around 3, almost
Close to 400 people.
384. Yeah.
384, a lot of people. And that was a really good time there, and then you go to the parade and have all those activities, and it really shows what a small town can do when you're organized. So thanks to Toledo. And I was going to also do a shout out to Peter Lamont and the Lewis County Historical Society and their annual Pioneer Pie Social. Do you know how much the highest pie went for? Over $200 for a pie.
240.
240. Did you pay that?
No, I paid 90. I got off cheap.
Oh, nice.
No, there were 25, I believe, 25 or 26 pies and yeah, it was, I don't know, it was a good afternoon though. Everyone did very well. And also the Toledo Parade, and Commissioner Fund just mentioned it though. A lot of fun, a lot of good people. You know, the thing about it is, and I know that we have new people coming and going, but at the same time, lots of familiar faces. And of course, this is my sixth, I want to say, so I think, believe sixth Toledo Parade that we're involved with and in it. And there are lots and lots of people keep coming back, just as they do for the Jubilee and the Blueberry Festival and the Centralia Parade. And so it's a wonderful event. And so we're very lucky to be a part of it.
Yes. And considering the STP with thousands of riders we're going
Yeah.
through Lewis County, once again, if anybody says they're bored in Lewis County, they don't know what's going on because there's a lot of things to do.
I enjoyed the parade as well, and one of the things, and I was talking to Commissioner Stamper's friend Bobby Barnes, and it seems that these parades continue to grow. I mean, the amount of people that were on the sidewalks on Saturday, it amazes me. There's almost no room for all these folks. Barely any room to get the parade entries up and down the road. But we had a lot of fun with that. The weather cooperated. It was a good day. Yesterday, I attended a celebration of a life for Centralia resident Rick Elam. It was a beautiful ceremony, and one of the highlights for me yesterday was getting to visit with a legend, Coach Ron Brown. And Coach looked good, and we had some great conversations, and probably there were over 100 people there. And so I would imagine that Coach had probably had most of those in class at one time and coached them in basketball. And tell you a story about Coach Brown. When I worked for KELA, KMNT Radio, I had the opportunity to broadcast a game where he was still coaching at Centralia. And the coach would just pull up a metal chair and sit down. And he stayed there for the whole game. And he would coach from that position. And the story goes is that Coach Ron Brown has never had a technical foul called against him by an official. And I always used to think about the one guy that would ever attempt to do that. His career might be over at that point. But what was amazing about that was that Coach Brown he was very calm. He had a calm demeanor on the court that night. And I noticed that if he had anything to say to the officials, when they went by Coach Brown, they would always bend an ear to listen, because they knew if he had something to say about something, it was worth their time to listen to. So it was really nice being able to visit with him yesterday and all the folks over in Centralia. So.
And Coach Brown is a legend.
Yes, he is.
And my son was coached by him in basketball. He's just one of those Lewis County folks that gave his all and really benefited our youth.
Colonel.
Ron Averill, Centralia, representing the Lewis County Seniors nonprofit operating the senior centers in Lewis County. Last week, we had our sit down with you with our quarterly report and told you that we did need to have the second payment on the $100,000 grant that you gave us to help our nutrition program. On Friday, I passed to Eric Martin and carbon copies to all of you with the assistance of Tom Nicholas, who's our CPA. I think that we have amply demonstrated the need for that money here to close out this year to keep our nutrition program healthy for our citizens.
Colonel, I'm happy to report to you this morning, we voted to make sure that you get the money.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We want to give you our thanks for that. I would like to point out on the item on the appointment to the Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging, that's not to the agency. They're the advisory board to the board of LMTAA, and Commissioner Stamper is the board member. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. And during our meeting this morning, we discussed quite the quandary it is for the senior centers in terms of the meals, and I know it's by donation only. And I think there was a competition regarding who could have the most dollars donated for the meals. And I see a lot of Toledo seniors out there, and I heard you won, and you had a celebration of a root beer float party. So congratulations on being the winner. Second time.
Second time.
Okay, thank you.
Second time in a row.
Okay, any questions from the press today?
No questions, but I had an announcement to make.
Sure.
On behalf of the seniors, they wanted to invite everybody to come out to the first Shop and Sip event this Friday at the Twin Cities Senior Center from 5 to 8 p.m. They're going to have several vendors. They'll have a fashion show. Miss Lewis County will be on hand. They're raffling off a Coach purse along with other items. And Peter Abarno, City Councilor and Attorney, will be emceeing the event. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, anything further?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, folks, for coming and sharing with us today. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you.